going on, everybody?
What's going on?
Welcome to SocialEyes.
And we're sitting on
the big black couch. Oh my God. We are on chapter number 19. Lucky number 19 of A Boy Called
Christmas.
And a lot is happening. Now he's discovering what it means to believe. He can possibly.
Anyways, he did get magical.
He got magical.
He got magical by a Drimwick.
A Drimwick. And
Guys.
he's now discovering that he can possibly float.
No.
This is watch me float.
Wait.
Okay, we are on chapter 19. Are you ready to go? Do we need to do any summary? Well, he's hanging out with...
Guys, say this with me. Drimwick. Drimwick. I know, it's so weird that they call it a Drimwick.
So the truth pixie tells the truth, and she's pretty mean. We got the Tomagub.
She likes to explode.
Is it called the Tomagub or the Tomtagub?
Tomtagub.
The Tomtagub. What is a Tomtagub?
They're very funny, but they're bad cooks.
That's right. And Nicholas, and he discovers a black...
and also the troll.
He discovers a black hole in the ceiling, and the troll, who's not going to eat him today, but is definitely going to eat him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because today is Troll Christmas.
Yeah, so he's going to fly.
So it's 2 days till Christmas. We know that. It's 2 days till Christmas.
For them, not for us.
For them. And he discovered the black hole, and he knows that it used to be the fireplace's chimney. All right, we are in chapter number 19.
Welcoming.
Okay, who's reading? Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yeah, slice you up.
Wait, but a paper can turn into a paper rock.
Oh, and it's still paper, and it can get chopped.
No, it's still hard to get a paper rock. It's hard.
The art of climbing through chimneys.
That's what Santa does.
Sebastian fell back to his snoring. Sebastian's the troll.
Yeah.
The sound was like a motorbike. But motorbikes hadn't been invented yet, so Nicholas couldn't compare it to that. Then soon after, the Trixie Pixie fell asleep too. The troll was still hogging the bed, so the Truth Pixie had curled up on the floor, holding onto her tulip leaf. Nicholas was extremely tired. He had never felt so tired before, not even before Christmas, when he was never able to sleep because he was so excited. He knew he needed to sleep, but he didn't trust the Truth Pixie. He sat with his back against the cold, hard wall, staring up at the chimney. Outside beyond the thick wooden door, in between Sebastian's snores, he could just about hear the mumbled voices of the elf guards. He had to get out of here, not simply because he was with two creatures who each, for different reasons, wanted to kill him. No, he had to escape to find his father. He had a hunch that he was still alive, and he also knew that he was probably with the men who were supposed to have taken little Kip. There must be some confusion. His father was a good man. He had to find him. He had to bring him back little Kip. He had to make everything all right. But how? He remembered the day his mother died, hiding from Brown Bear in the well, holding onto the chain, holding the bucket, then losing her grip. The wail as she fell while Nicholas watched in horror from the cottage. On that day, And for a lot of days after, let's say 1098, he had believed that things could only get worse and that he would wake up in tears for the rest of his life, feeling guilty that he hadn't stayed with her, even though he thought she was running too. He prayed somehow for her to come back. Joel kept on telling him he looked like his mother, but his cheeks weren't as red, so sometimes Nicholas used to grab some berries and crush them on his cheeks and look at his reflection in the lake. And in the blurry water, he could almost imagine it was her looking back from a dream. "It's funny, Papa," he said once as his father chopped a tree, "but I could probably have filled, with tears the amount I have cried." "She wouldn't want you to cry. She want you to be happy, jolly. She was the happiest person I ever met." And so the next morning, Nicholas woke up and didn't cry. He was determined not to. And nor had he had his usual nightmare about his mother falling down that well. So he knew that terrible things, even the most terrible things, couldn't stop the world from turning. Life went on, and he made a promise to himself that when he grew older, he'd try and be like his mother. Colorful and happy and kind and full of joy. That was how he was going to keep her alive.
High five. There were no windows in the tower. The door was thick wood and solid metal. And besides, there were the guards. He was there in this damn stone circular room, as stuck as an aisle in a wheel. There was a world out there. A world of forests and lakes and mountains and hope. But that world belonged to other people now, not him. There was no way out. And yet, strangely, he wasn't unhappy, scared, yes, maybe a little. But also deep down, hopeful. He began to chuckle to himself.
Impossible.
No, impossible.
Impossible.
That was what Father Topo had meant, he realized. That was the point of magic, wasn't it? To do the impossible. Could he, Nicholas, really do magic? He stared at the chimney, at the small circle of darkness, and he tried to concentrate harder on the chimney, that dark tunnel, and how to get through it. It was an intense darkness, like the darkness of the well. He thought of his mom falling, and all those times he imagined it the other way, of her rising back into life. She thought of staring at the brown bear in the forest that last time, not really that scared, and the bear going away. His head kept on saying it was impossible, but he stared and stared slowly. He stared to hope, to wish. He thought all those unhappy elves in the hall, thought of his father's sad face, and the day he had left the cottage to travel north. He thought of Aunt Carol lots of making him sleep.
Aunt Karen Atta.
Oh, I meant Aunt Karen Alta. Making him sleep outside in the cold. He thought of a human unhappiness, but he also thought of how it didn't really mean to be like that. He thought that, really, humans are probably even elves were good inside, but had lost their way a bit. But most of all, he thought of how he could escape the tower.
High five!
And then he thought of his mother smiling, laughing, and being happy.
No matter what, he began to feel the same peculiar feeling as if a warm syrup was pouring inside of him, just as he had when he first met Father Topo and little Noosh. It was feeling of unbreakable joy, hope where no hope could exist. And then, before he knew it, he was rising. He was floating off the ground, and very slowly and surely he was climbing through the air above the Trixie Pixie. The Truth Pixie and Sebastian. He felt as light as a feather until he hit his head against the ceiling right next to the two small black chimney flue. Let's show the picture of that one. Ooh, look at him rise up off the ground.
Or it looked like he's just jumping.
He fell back towards the ground, but landed on top of Sebastian. Uh-oh. It not be Christmas Day now. It be the day after Christmas Day, said Sebastian as he woke up. So I be killing you. Amid the commotion, the Truth Pixie had woken up. Yay! Squealed the Truth Pixie. I mean, it's technically Christmas Eve, but otherwise, yay! Nicholas moved fast and grabbed the yellow tulip leaf from the Truth Pixie's hand. He thrust the leaf towards Sebastian, but it wasn't the leaf that caused the one-toothed troll to step backwards. It was the fact that Nicholas was suspended in the air again. You be magic? Why you are staying here if you be magic? I'm beginning to ask myself the same thing, said Nicholas. Hey, said the Truth Pixie. Get down now and give me back my leaf. Get away from me, said Nicholas, trying to sound as fearsome as he could. That's tricky. Actually, as we are trapped in a prison cell, said the Truth Pixie. Sebastian grabbed Nicholas's leg and tried to pull him back down to the ground. Oh, this is so exciting, said the Truth Pixie, smiling broadly and clapping her hands. I love drama. Sebastian's grip tightened, his rough hands as strong as stone. Get off, said Nicholas, but it was no use. He thought of his mother falling, not rising, and that, combined with the strength of the troll, was interfering with his magic. Then something rough was around Nicholas's neck, squeezing hard. Sebastian's free hand, Nicholas gasped. I can't breathe. Then the hand released. I be thinking, said Sebastian matter-of-factly, I might be eating you instead of strangling. I be only have one tooth, but it be doing the job. And he opened his mouth and was about to bite when Nicholas shoved the tulip leaf in his mouth. The Truth Pixie clapped her hands in excitement. Hey! Came a deep elf voice from outside the door. What's going on in there? Nothing, said Nicholas. Nothing, said Sebastian. The Truth Pixie covered her mouth, but still couldn't help herself. The human boy is floating in the air while Sebastian is trying to eat him, but now the human boy has shoved a tulip leaf into the mouth, so I am anxiously awaiting the explosion of Sebastian's head, she blurted out. Emergency! Shouted the elf guard behind the door. There's a crisis in the furnace room! Sebastian stumbled backwards as the clop of elf footsteps could be heard, echoing up the tower's spiral staircase. Then the troll's face began to tremble. Sebastian looked worried. What be happening? What be happening? Nicholas heard the troll's stomach rumble. It was more than a rumble. It was more even than a grumble. It sounded like thunder. Nicholas now back on the floor. I'm sorry, said Nicholas. He's gonna blow, said the Truth Pixie. A Christmas Eve spectacular! The more than grumbling noise rose higher inside the troll, and now the noise was coming from his head. His cheeks wobbled. His forehead started to throb. His lips started to swell. His ears bulged. His head had already been big, but it was getting bigger and bigger. It was now wider than his shoulders, and he was struggling to hold it up. And all the time the Truth Pixie was clapping her hands in excitement. This is going to be a good one. I can feel it. The guards were at the door trying to find the right key. Sebastian tried to speak, but he couldn't because his tongue was now the size of a slipper. Blah, 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 he said as he clutched his head. His eyes were now so large that they nearly popped out of his head. Well, one did pop out, and it rolled along the floor towards Nicholas. It lay there, looking up at Nicholas, and was pretty disgusting. And the Truth Pixie burst into hysterics, looking at his eye. This is so good. Shouldn't laugh. Bad, Pixie. Bad. But it's just so. Nicholas saw the Truth Pixie's face go still. What's up? He asked. I just wet myself, she said, and then she started giggling again. What's happening in there? Shouted the guards. I wouldn't open the door just yet, he said, the Truth Pixie. There's going to be an explode. And that moment, Sebastian's head got so big that it exploded. With a loud, wet thud, purple troll blood and gray troll brains splattered everywhere, over the walls and the Truth Pixie and Nicholas. Amazing, said the Truth Pixie as she applauded. Bravo, Sebastian! Sebastian didn't respond to the Truth Pixie, not out of rudeness, but out of not having a head. He was just a big troll body with no head, and the body was now falling forwards toward the Truth Pixie, who was still laughing so hard that she couldn't see. So Nicholas quickly dived towards the Pixie, hurling her aside as Sebastian crushed and crashed onto the floor, squashing his loose eyeball. You saved my life, said the Truth Pixie, a little bit in love. It was nothing. Then the sound of keys in the door. Nicholas closed his eyes and fought his panic. He was determined now. You can do it, said the Truth Pixie. Can I? Of course you can. As the door opened, Nicholas was back floating up in the air. Hey, shouted the elf guard. Father Topo's words came back to Nicholas. You just close your eyes and wish for something to happen. Perhaps a wish was just a hope with a better aim. If you wished hard enough, maybe all kinds of things could happen. He thought about how Father Vidal had made furniture move, maybe even enough determination a chimney could move too. I can do it, Nicholas said. Yes, you can, agreed the Pixie. He closed his eyes and wished that he could. Nothing stillness, then warmth. As the wish filled his whole body, he felt a sudden dip in his stomach, like he was falling or rising. Then his heart began to race. When he finally opened his eyes, he saw blackness. He was inside the chimney. He could hear his mother's voice. My boy, my sweet Christmas boy. I'm going to be like you, Mom. I'm going to make people happy. The chimney bent, twisted, and expanded to fit him perfectly as he traveled with considerable speed upwards. He could hear his voice of the Truth Pixie somewhere below him saying, Told you! And then, in no time at all, Nicholas shot out the chimney, felt a rush of cold air before he landed hard but painlessly on the steep tower roof.
What happens to the Truth Pixie?
She's still in the room. The Truth Pixie is still in the room, but now she's in love with him. Because?
She saved his life.
Yeah, he saved her life.
Yeah.
And the troll, Sebastian's head blew up. Oh my God! What an intense chapter! He gave...
Will they do the troll's head blowing up? That's my
God.
question. That would be so
They'll
cool.
animate his head just expanding. Oh.
And they'll be like...
Then his eyeball popped out. Boing! And landed on the ground. Rolled over there in front of the Truth Pixie. Right in front of the Truth Pixie. And then he's like... Boom! His head blows up. And then he stumbles with no head. And then he falls towards the Truth Pixie. And just about to crush her... and Nicholas dives and pushes the truth pixie out of the way, and then gets out of the way himself, and the troll falls and crushes his eyeball.
Or he goes like this. You're the truth pixie.
I'm the truth pixie. Oh, I'm looking at the eyeball. Ooh. And he cackles her away, and he's on top of her, and then the troll crushes the eyeball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that's what it's gonna happen.
No, she's clapping with joy, not looking at the eyeball. She's like, you do the clapping with joy. I don't think she just pushes her out of the way. Like, be the truth pixie clapping right now.
Oh my God, Hercules, Hercules, Hercules! Oh!
I think she.
And then she's like this after she gets tackled. She's like, she looks at Nicholas. I'm in love.
It looks so weird.
I'm in love. She doesn't even care that Sebastian's head just exploded. She thought that's the funniest thing. And then she's all of a sudden she's in love with Nicholas.
Yeah, all of a sudden. Wow.
Oh my God. And he's floating and he thinks of Father Topo's words. You just close your eyes and wish for something to happen. Let's close our eyes and wish for something to happen. I'm trying to think of what I want to happen.
I want.
Oh.
The greatest dad ever.
I want to finish this book today. Closing my eyes and wishing for it to happen.
I wish
Alright.
for my dad to be the best dad ever.
Well, that's already the best dad ever.
It became true.
Thank you. All right, guys, we are out of here. That was chapter number 19.